heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Hey everybody, Lady Cheryl here, and it's Saturday morning. It's sprinkling outside. It's been raining, guys, so much over the whole month of May and some of April. It's our rainy season in Garden Zone 8A, Mesquite, Texas. Now, I'm going to dedicate this video to those of you that are senior citizens, or if you know somebody that's a senior citizen, or somebody that is not very mobile, but they want to grow their own food, someone who maybe just have a patio or has a balcony. I'm going to show you how you can grow bush green beans from seeds in containers and hanging baskets. And I saw my first tiny string beans on the 41st day. Okay, let's get started. Let's head on over to the greenhouse. Okay guys, I'm out in the greenhouse, and you can see that I have the cover off. And you can see from the drops on the greenhouse frame here that it's raining, so I'm not going to be out here long. But I wanted to show you my bush beans that are in a basket. Now, in previous years, I have grown the vining type green beans in the basket, and I just noticed that by the time the season was over, I had put 5 beans in the basket, and it was just a ball of roots. So I recommend that you use bush beans that don't vine out as much, and you can harvest some beans in about 50 days or less. So I already put 3 bush beans here, and I'm walking down here and being careful because it's kind of muddy. And you can see that I have 3 bush beans in here. These are the contenders, and some of them may be even top crop, but you can see that there are blooms, and those turn into string beans. Okay, so let me show you what I did with my containers. On April the 10th, my grand angel Andre and I sowed some top crop bush green beans into these garden boxes. I pre-soaked the beans about 6 hours before they came over after school. They being his sister, Alayla, was here also. And it was actually rainy when we plant this. It was just drizzling. So that's why we're working very fast to space the beans out about 4 inches apart. It appears as if they're closer in the video, and some of them were, but we did the best we could because we were kind of rushing, trying to beat the rain, because we had been working for several hours in the food forest. And I wanted to get these planted into the moist soil before it started raining. And that way we didn't have to worry about watering them. So we quickly, lightly covered the beans, and you can see me here patting down the soil, and I just do that out of habit so the rain doesn't wash them away. So I'm pushing them down about an inch into the soil so the birds won't get them. And then I'm sure we came back and we made sure after it rained that none of the beans were on the surface of the soil. And we didn't use any new soil. We just used the boxes that had previously grown beets, spinach, tatsoi, and I think that's it that were in those boxes. Okay. Wrote top crop being the vining type, but as you get older, you make some adjustments. So it's just drizzling a little bit, but we're supposed to get a good rain though. So I'm just pushing these down. Okay. And these will germinate quickly because temperatures are rising. I'll have a couple of days of 80 degrees, a couple cool nights. Okay. Well, 2 weeks later, after we broadcast the seeds, I noticed that while I was doing a tour of the food forest, that some of the seeds, the rain had pushed them, closer together. And I've seized that opportunity to just get in there and thin them out. But instead of actually cutting them out or pulling them out, I tried to pick them up with the roots still intact. And I use this opportunity to demonstrate how you can transplant beans when you thin them out. And here you can see that I'm just making a hole. I'm scooping up the bean seedling. I'm covering or backfilling the hole, pressing it down, and then I take my fingers, and what I try to do is just press down on it. I think you can see it better from this shot here. You're going to see me picking up one, and I take a lot of soil with it. See there? Then I gently place it in the hole. I backfill, press down, and sometimes I press down and then backfill. But the main thing is you want to space the beans out so you don't have overcrowding with the roots, and you want to make sure that you press down so you don't have holes in the soil that water can accumulate in and cause root rot. So I think I'll just continue to demonstrate this a couple times, and then I'll move on. And you can see that I'm picking and choosing where I'm going to strategically remove a seedling and put it where I see a bean is not germinating, or maybe a bean was moved. So I've scooped that up and I laid it out, and I'm looking carefully, and I'm going back there to cover up that hole. And the next thing that I'm going to do is determine where I'm going to place it. And you can see I pushed the soil back. And it actually was 2 beans that I picked up, 2 bean seedlings. So I showed you that, and I'm just backfilling and pressing in to make sure there are no air pockets, like I said before. Okay? All right, so let's move on. It's not hard, believe me. Yeah, yeah. Grow your own, eat your own. It's not hard, believe me. Yeah, yeah. On Saturday, May 1st, I broadcast some beans in these 2 grow boxes, and they germinated relatively fast because the weather had warmed up and the soil was warmed up, and they germinated in about 6 days. And as you can see here, I'm just going around and looking to see what came up and how close or far apart the beans appear, and just looking to see if I needed to transplant or thin out anything, but everything was fine. Now, the reason why I sowed additional seeds a week later from the seeds I just showed you that my grandson and I did together is because I wanted to succession plant. Succession plant just allows you the opportunity to not have to harvest all of your beans at one time, because you guys know that the majority of the food that I grow, that's what I live off of. I can it. Okay, and so I didn't want to have to do all that work at one time. So if you stagger your dates of sowing your seeds and then allowing them time to germinate, that'll give me about 2 weeks longer before I have to harvest the beans that will be produced from the little seedlings that you're looking at right now. Okay, so now we need to move on, and let me show you what I did next. Okay, now, guys, I want you to know that the next thing I did was on April 27th, I knew that I had to start protecting my beans, because I know what the moths look like that lay the eggs on the under leaves of the beans. And I battle this every year. So forewarned is forearmed. So what I do is I put out a netting that has a little metallic thread that runs through it. I get it from Amazon, and it protects my beans. And you still can get some insects that will come up under there. But I take that netting, and you can see I'm showing you my scissors in case I need to cut something. And also in that spray bottle that you see, I know I'm getting ready to cover everything. So I'm going to spray the grow boxes before I cover them up with the netting. That way, if there's something under there, I can kill it before I cover up the grow boxes with the netting. And those little hoops that were on the boxes, I got those also from Amazon. And yeah, so you do what you got to do. You got to protect your crops. Okay, so I completed adding the insect protection netting on the grow boxes, and I use those spring clips. I get those from Home Depot or Lowe's, and I try to pull it as taut as I can. And like I said, sometimes insects will still get in, but this would deter them somewhat. And what I usually do be every few days, I take my insect repellent spray, and that is something that I make out of onions, garlic, and crushed red pepper flakes, and of course water. And I spray all on the outside, all around the boxes to to repel insects. And here I'm just showing you how I did all of the boxes like that in the area. Okay. Well, on last week on May 13th, I decided it was time to take the netting off of the grow boxes because we have been getting an enormous amount of rain, and I noticed that the boxes were just how can I say it? The beans were being squashed down, and they needed to breathe to have room to perk up and grow. So I took the covers off, and that's what I'm showing you here. Look how beautifully my bush beans are flowering. Isn't that pretty? These beans are really going to be prolific. I feel confident. And if you didn't know, you don't really have to add any nitrogen fertilizer to beans because they put, or some people say, fix nitrogen into the soil. Okay? All right. Well, I see my first green string beans. So after those flowers kind of fall off, then the green beans come on. And it's a very exciting time, especially since we've been getting so much rain. I have to constantly come out here and make sure that the containers are draining, and then I, remove any leaves. Here's some more. Actually, this one has more. 1, 2, 3, 4 string beans. So we're going to be harvesting our string beans because I don't like for them to get real long. I like them tender, and I will be harvesting them based upon my experience about how fast they grow. I will be harvesting them between 10 and 14 days. This is so beautiful. Now right here is strawberries. Next year I'm going to move the strawberries and get them all closer together. But I truly hope that you enjoyed how I documented the progress of my green beans from the beginning when we first sowed the seeds to now. And I will come back and give you an update on the first actual harvest. Okay? All right. And you guys know that I have more green beans in the hanging baskets, and I have green beans over here. Let me show you. Right over there. I'm going to go in closer. Those 2 grow boxes have green beans in them as well, and they're all bush. So I can just stand right here. I don't have to bend over and just harvest my green beans. I've shared with you many times in the future that I am looking forward to my senior citizen years, my golden years, and I'm going to make all of my gardening smarter and not harder. So here's a better view of the green beans that are closest to my house on this platform here. And they were planted a few weeks after the green beans over there. Let me go in closer so you can see right there where the owl is, right behind that. In a couple of weeks, I will be harvesting the green beans, and I'll share that with you, as well as how I plan to pressure can them so that all I have to do is just heat them up and serve them. One more thing I want to tell you guys, when you first sow your seeds for your beans, make sure that you condition your soil and add any amendments that you think that you may need as far as fertilizer for your beans. Now, in my case, since I grow food 365 days of the year, I had previously already amended my soil with azomite rock dust, worm castings, fermented tea. So I know what my soil needs, and it didn't need anything. But you need to add what you think your soil would need. So because I'm an organic gardener, I don't use chemicals, but you want to look at the NPK if you're a new gardener and make sure that it's equal. All the digits are the same because, as I stated previously, beans will fix nitrogen in the soil. So don't use a heavy nitrogen count type of fertilizer. Thank you so much for watching this video. Remember, grow your own, eat your own. It's not hard. You can do it. I love you, and God loves you too. Bye now. Grow your own, your own. Start hard, believe me. Grow your own, eat your own.